Well, g'day there, podcaster. Got a little treat for you right here.
Yeah, we're about to speak to someone who runs a brothel in Central Europe. You've probably seen her posts on Instagram, like TikToks. She doesn't normally like talk in them. It's normally like music, and she's sort of saying like the reason why brothels have an 8-second panic button or something like I don't know. It's like they seem to go viral a lot.
Oh, she says she shares incredible stories. So she is a manager of Europe's largest legal brothel, which is how she's able to do all these videos. And so Liam and I, we've been seeing her videos a lot, and we were like, we have to chat to her. But of course, we are slapping a huge content warning on this interview. This is adult content, and
Probably the biggest warning we've ever put on something, I suppose.
Yeah, especially for the story that she shares at the very end.
Yeah, so and don't, skip through and, heed this warning and listen to that and then get angry about it because we're warning you now.
Yep.
yeah,
The
and
content warning is here.
she shares a lot of incredible stuff in the lead up. As
Yeah,
well,
well, absolutely. Enjoy. We're joined now by Catherine, who is a seasoned brothel manager with over 9 years of experience in the legal sex work industry. You may have seen her videos popping up a lot on TikTok and Instagram. I was seeing them, then Belle was seeing them. We spoke to each other about it. We're like, oh, we should get this woman on because you sort of, explain a lot of the stuff behind the scenes from your industry. I mean, what sort of inspired you to get into this in the first place?
Well, it was a huge coincidence. So I studied psychology, and at that time, I kind of believed that I want to pursue neuropsychology. And because I was very fascinated by studying dementias, so I kind of thought that this will be my career path. And then one night, I discovered this article, and it was with a manager of a legal brothel, and it was called Psychologist in a Whorehouse. They call me pimp, but I protect women. So I read the article, and he was also a psychologist. He talked about the way how they treat this business as a normal business, how they treat women with respect, how the women are independent contractors. And like before that, I never thought about sex work and the industry. And I just found it so fascinating that at the same night, I kind of decided to track down the company this guy worked for. And I wrote them an email. I wrote them an email. It's like, hey, I read the article. I want to do this job. This is the best job that I've ever heard of. Just please give me the job. And it was very awkward because I was 22. I didn't have any experience with like managing people, with the industry. I didn't even have like experience with working because I was still studying. So it was very random. And they basically, like, few days later, our HR, she called me and she was like, yeah, well, we read your email. So we would like you to invite for an interview. And then I went through 3 rounds of the interviews. And like after this, they basically offered me the job. And now it's been almost 9 years and I'm still there.
Yeah, and doing an incredible job, by the way, it looks like. My biggest question, though, is what's the difference between a legal and an illegal brothel?
So it basically, so when you work in a legalized system, the state makes it legal. So the state says, okay, this business is legal, so you need to have the license, you need to comply with all the police procedures, you need to be able to do the taxes properly. So we have tax office coming in every year, I think, for a checkup. Then we also have like a hygiene inspections coming in, police inspections coming in. And because we operate legally, we can pretty much let them in and we don't write anything. So it's the state that says this is legal, this is illegal.
Right.
And so with the clients, how many clients do you get through on a regular day?
So when it's Friday night, it's between like 500, 600.
Whoa.
When it's like, yeah. But like Mondays, Tuesdays are usually much more quiet. So usually we got around like 300, 400.
And then what's peak time? So if Friday night's presumably your busiest night, what's the peak hour of the day where there's like a big rush?
So usually it's between like 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. So these are like the most busiest hours that we have.
Is it a bit awkward with some of the people in the waiting room, and they're all, just sort of, maybe they've had a few drinks and they're all just sort of twiddling their thumbs, waiting for their sort of turn to come up?
Well, the system that we have, it doesn't work like this. So it's a walk-in brothel. So everybody can walk in. You don't need to have any bookings. Because we as a management, we are never part of the deal between the customer and the worker. So basically the customers just walk in, there's a reception, and then you go to this like customer area where is a bar, there's a lounge, there's like VIP area, and you can basically like sit there, hang out, have a drink without like any pressure to go to spend the time with the workers, because the part where the workers are, it's different. It's like a little bit separated from this area. So you can just basically like hang out there, have a drink. And a lot of the people, they come in and they like, maybe I don't want to even spend the time with the workers. I just want to have a drink, to see the environment. A lot of the people, they are just very curious how it looks like. Or maybe their friends want to go there and they kind of like join them. So there is like no pressure to wait in front of the room and to actually pay for the service.
Yeah, so it's less like, a doctor's surgery waiting room with some magazines. It's more like a
Yeah,
bar.
that's how I imagined
nice.
it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Now, we have been told that you've got specialists as well as part of your workers. Now, I've got squirting specialist here. What?
Yeah, yeah.
What other specialists do you have?
Well, it pretty much depends on the workers. So not everybody does full service. So we have a workers, and some of them, they specialized in different types of the things. So some of them are more into BDSM type of the service. Then we have this squirting girl. Then we have a girl and she really likes to do anal sex, but like not to be the one who's penetrated, but to be the one who basically penetrating others.
You definitely want to make sure you sign the right form, go into the right room before you find that out, huh?
Yeah, you always need to speak with the girls, like what
Yeah.
kind of services they offer. Because once this happened like few years ago. There were customer and he was like, I really want to experience anal sex. So there were two girls. They basically took him to the room, and like few minutes later, I saw him running away from the room. And I was like, what happened? What happened? And he was like, yeah, well, I wanted to experience anal sex, but I didn't know that I'm going to be the one who will be penetrated.
Yeah. Bloody, you got him. Pulled the old Swifty on him. Yeah, I'm sure he's keen for that, but maybe not that.
And now you
Yeah, but actually, like a lot of the customers are coming to the brothel to experience anal sex, to be the one who's penetrated, because this is, I think, like top number fantasy that the customers want to try. And they are often shy to try this with their partner because they might think that she will think that they are gay, or it could shift the dynamics between them. So a lot of the guys, they are coming in and they are like, I have this secret fantasy of like trying an anal sex.
Yeah, right. There you go. I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, we're dying to know. This is obviously leading to some of your incredible stories that you have, Catherine. You have shared some on your Instagram and your TikTok before about people getting caught. Like I saw one where I think you said there was a husband and he was there at like 3 or 4 a.m. and then the wife tracked his location on his phone, worked out where he was, came in, busted him.
Whoa.
What is another incredibly crazy story that you have and you're happy to share?
Well, with the wives and husbands. So I think it was like few months ago, I don't remember exactly when it was, but there were a pair, like a guy and a girl, and they came in and she was like, I want to speak with the manager. And I felt like maybe she discovered that he was here and now she wants to confront me. I don't know. So I took them to this VIP area and I sat down with them and I was like, okay, so what can I do for you? And she was like, I would really like to rent here some room because we have this fantasy, me and my husband, that I will be like a dirty and he will pay for me. And like they both looked like, she looked like a nun. He looked like and they were like very shy. And then she told me like this sentence, and I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, we can do that if this is your fantasy. We still need to go through like all the procedures that we have. We need to sign the papers. I need to check your documents.
Yeah.
I need to explain you all the security features that we have. But yeah, we can do that. And they were like so happy. So she went through the interview because I always like to make sure that I kind of knew that she didn't want to be a sex worker, but still I like to make sure that she knows everything. So we went through this, and then I saw her standing with like very, very nice lingerie in front of the room, and there were the customer, the
Yeah,
husband,
yeah, yeah.
coming in, and they basically had fun the whole night, I think, and then she left. I never heard of them anymore, but yeah,
Wow.
So you
it's pretty crazy and pretty lovely, actually.
Yeah.
so I mean, surely that'd have to be up there with one of the most interesting requests you've had, though.
Mm, we as a management, we don't take the requests, but I often heard this from the girls. So we had a customer coming in and he just wanted to role play like a plumber. So he didn't do, so he took like a big bag with all the plumber tools that
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
needed.
yeah,
Yeah.
And he basically spent like several hours just fixing the bathroom and the sink. He didn't do like nothing sexual, but he just wanted to be like a plumber to basically experience this fantasy, and he paid for it. So yeah, and then we got the
Unbelievable.
sink,
Unbelievable.
yeah, and then we got the sink repaired. So that was nice as well.
Wow.
You would think that the fantasy would be he comes to the brothel, he
Yeah.
does the plumbing, fixes
Yes.
the pipes, and then that leads to something
Well,
else.
yeah, how could I repay you? I don't have any money. Yeah, you would think that's where it's inevitably going, but no, he just has
Yeah,
this
he
kink
kind
where
of
he's
leaves out this part. He
Yeah.
just fixed the sink and then he went away. So
he's like a good Samaritan. He's like, don't worry about it, love. You look like you're having a busy night. That'll be me done. The piping's all fixed. I'll leave.
You also a couple of times mentioned the VIP room. What have you got to do to become a VIP? Is it just attend a certain amount of times or spend a certain amount of money?
no. It's like we have this area for the customers that want to stay like a little bit separate. So maybe it's like a big group and they are celebrating something. So they can basically tell us, hey, we want to move there. I think that you need to have some sort of like bottle service. So you should pay like for some I don't know, like vodka, something like this.
Yeah.
And so we basically have this for like big groups if they want to feel like more separated from the actual club.
It sounds like you have such a slick operation going, and I know you've got like 100 rooms, which is incredible. Has anything ever gone wrong that you're willing to share?
Actually, because we operate legally and because we have very big and I think very efficient security system, I need to like knock on the wood, but like nothing very serious have ever happened. And the reason is because security features that we have is that we have a reception, and when you want to walk in, you need to go through this reception, and there are my colleagues, and if they will see that you are like drunk or super drunk or acting rude or being aggressive, they will not let you in. So this is like first like selection that we do, and then every room has at least one panic button. They need to be the button is pressed. The security guys need to be there within 8 seconds.
Wow.
So this gives them like quite a lot of safety. And if something like completely crazy happens, we can always call the police.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ben mentioned before as well, you sort of asked like, oh, what do you have to do to get into the VIP? And you're sort of saying that's just like the bottle service. But do you have any frequent flyers, so to speak, like someone who's coming in every week? Do you have a customer who's come in hundreds of times?
Yeah, I mean, we have like so many regulars, quite a lot of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
We actually have a regular, and he always comes in, and he has like 3, 4 girls that he regularly meets. And what he does is that he basically take the girl and they drive to the cemetery. And the cemetery, it's like 2 hours, 3 hours by car from the club, and they share a cigarette in the cemetery, and then they go back. And he pays a lot of money for this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
taking
can
the
imagine.
girls off site. That's
I can imagine.
It's a bit like the plumber situation again, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people's fantasies are very wild and very creative, and I
Yeah.
love that.
I mean, I've got to ask. Sorry, just while we're on the topic. I mean, the plumber one. I love that. The guy who went to the cemetery. Is there any other interesting fantasies that might not even be sexual necessarily, but you're just like, oh, okay. I mean, you've been doing this for 9 years, so I'm sure you've seen it all.
I mean, yeah, I definitely seen it all. So this is quite famous. I mean, I've told this many times, but we have once we had a customer and he came in with a polar bear costume because he really wanted to play the polar bear fantasy, like Eskimo fantasy. So he basically came in and it was like full polar bear costume,
Yeah.
and we had this like security procedure that when you are walking in, we need to see your head because there are
Yeah.
cameras.
Of course,
So
of course.
Yeah.
we actually needed him to take off the head of the polar bear. And I was standing in reception. I was like, what is going on here? Like, why are you in polar bear costume? And he was like, yeah, well, it's my fantasy because I want to play like a polar bear that's going to be hunted by Eskimo.
Wow.
Right.
And okay.
I mean, it's
Hey,
I mean, why not? Yeah.
Hey, look, if as long as it's all safe, it's legal, they're paying customer, whatever.
Well,
Exactly.
Lee, you
Exactly.
said safe. I've gotten a bit of a hint here. You might have a story about a wine bottle.
I mean, I do, but are you ready for it?
Yeah,
We're
okay.
ready.
Go for it.
So this was a customer, and he actually was quite regular until this point. So he came in, and he really liked to be penetrated with dildos, and since he was like very experienced already in this, the dildos were like super big. And at some point, there was this girl, and he always met the same girl. And they got like a bottle of wine from the bar. They got like a little bit tipsy together, and he was like, I want to try something new today. And she was like, okay, so what do you want to do? He was like, this bottle of wine needs to go inside of me. And she was like, okay, I mean, if you want to do it, we can try it. Because like he was already like very experienced
Yeah.
with the dildos. So they basically like put it inside of him and they had fun. But then because of the suction, they like couldn't get it
Ah,
away. Like they couldn't get it off. And that was the time when like he started to panicking and she started to panicking. And like instead of calling managers or the security to help them, they decided they will break the bottle like inside of him. So they did, but there were like because of the parts of the glass, it basically like scratched him so badly that he started to bleed. So she started to panicking even more, and it was the time when she ran to my office and she was like, I have a guy in my room and he's bleeding from his ass. Can you help me? And I was like, what? What is happening here? And she was like, yeah, well, we did this and now I don't know what to do. And I was like, yeah, well, we obviously need to call an ambulance
Yeah.
because I don't know what to do. It's like this is the case for an ambulance. So yeah, so we
Whoa.
basically needed to have an ambulance, and I didn't see the whole, I didn't see like what they did in the room, the ambulance.
I love to think like the Ambos, and they've just, they've had a long week, back to back 5 shifts. They've got one last call out on a Friday night, and they walk in, they're like, come on, man. he's got a Shiraz up his do it.
Oh, wow. And it's such an important job that you have, Catherine. Like you said, this girl comes running out and her first thought, of course, is to go to you. And you have taken on this role as a manager, but also a carer, and you've got to deal with people that come in and they're either drunk or, maybe they're a nice regular, but then I'm sure you've seen your fair share of ugly, scenarios as well. So thank you so much for giving us your time and for sharing these stories in such a way that I think we've felt pretty comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And you clearly run a great ship. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope I do.
Absolutely. And we love your content online. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it!
Like that podcast? There's heaps more to listen to if you just scroll back or download the Nova Player app.
Ben, Liam, and Bell.